Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Timeless Podcast. It's today not a podcast. This is just like a video form thing. I want to first apologize for the visuals on screen on my end, where the camera's flickering. I don't know why it looks terrible. I'll try and fix it in time for next recording. I'm joined by John today. Hello, John. How are you, mate? How are you
Hello.
feeling after rumblings?
Yeah. All right. It was an event that happened.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest shame coming off the back of this is
What that it happened.
just the fact that before we get into things in detail, on reflection, the show, show that we look forward to every year, really wasn't that special.
It had its moments.
It had its moments. It had a really good moment, and it ruined it at the end.
No, I mean, it had its moments.
There was WWE legend Summer Rae. She was doing her thing, which is weird that they kept billing her as WWE Summer Rae. Anyway, let's get into the Rumble. Obviously, a very short card. No pre-show match to talk about on this one. Nothing really happened on the pre-show. Actually, it was a very bizarre pre-show. But we started off with the Universal title match, Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. Best thing about this was the entrances for me. Even the match was sick, and we'll get into the match itself. Match in general. The entrances, obviously, Roman does his regular entrance, getting booed massively by the St. Louis crowd, which is an amazing crowd, by the way. I think this is their biggest US crowd since pandemic.
Wouldn't surprise me. It was like 47,000, so it wouldn't surprise me.
But then Seth Rollins, Shield gear and the Shield music, and in the it was insane. The crowd were loving it. But he was still doing like his Messiah movements as well. So it was a really interesting mix of the two characters at the same time. It was really cool.
Yeah, it was a lovely it was a nice little callback, and obviously it played into all of the kind of mind games that Seth's been playing with Roman all along, really. So it was relevant to the storyline as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think overall it got a really good atmosphere. The crowd were pumped for this. I think it added that extra oomph to the pre-match stuff and it really got the crowd hot immediately. It made Seth Rollins babyface again for this match at least. The crowd were red hot behind him. I don't know if it would have been the same thing had that entrance not happened though. But
yeah, I think it would have been a lot more 50-50 if he'd just come out in the modern gimmick.
yeah, but this match in of itself, really good match for these two. I mean, it was brilliant. There was genuine moments. I think even within the first 5 minutes of the match, Seth Rollins was he hit a curb stomp, he powerbomb Roman through the table. Really, some really cool sequences. Hit a curb stomp 1, 2, and literally Roman could not have timed it any better to kick out 2.9. Really, I think there was a brief moment in all of us there. We thought, did he almost just get the W like that? Obviously, that was not the case, and it became more of a your typical tribal chief match where he slowly does his moves: spear, Superman punch, all the other good stuff. We saw Seth again playing up more of a babyface role here, doing a lot more of his top rope stuff, the frog splash. I think he attempted a Phoenix splash. I don't think he hit it though. I think Roman dodged. But for me, mate, the issue with this match was it was a really good match. And then we see this really cool moment where like Roman can't beat Seth. He's kicking out. And he just laughs in Roman's face. He says, "Come on, brother." He lifts up the fist bump and Roman just puts him in the clutch. For some reason, this is a really weird thing. Charles Robinson does the arm lift to check if Seth is okay and essentially just aids him to the rope, which was really funny. But in doing so, Roman keeps the hold on for over 5 seconds, and the match ends in a DQ. The crowd at this point are booing, and I know this kind of finishes are meant to piss you off. They are meant to make you go, "This isn't what I wanted," but at the same time, I don't know if it was the right call.
I mean, it was a standard heel victory, So in a way, it strengthens Roman's character as this absolute badass and doesn't really care about the rules. It doesn't really weaken Seth very much. Aside from the fact that he would have lost the match anyway, even if Roman had released the hold. on sort of 4. He'd already lost the match. I think all that it really kind of did, this and the beatdown afterwards, was it just kind of established that, well, Seth isn't going to be coming back for the Rumble.
Yeah.
He kind of put him into a position where actually, he's going to get the crap kicked out of him, and he's not coming back for the Rumble.
Yeah, I think my big issue with this one is that we know that the direction they're not going is for Seth to get a rematch here. We know that's not the direction they're going based on the end of the show. He might do in Jeddah, but he's not
hang on. I mean, you've got 9 weeks.
Are they going to do a triple threat though? Do you think?
What I'm saying is you've got 9 weeks for a pay-per-view in the middle.
In the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely nothing saying that he's not going to get a rematch either on a SmackDown or at the Elimination Chamber.
Good point. Yeah.
You can't just have 9 weeks of build-up to Mania with a feud between 2 guys that have been feuding for the last few months anyway. You need to kind of keep it vibrant and lively. Yeah. So I don't see why you wouldn't get a rematch at the Elimination Chamber or at some point or other in the next few weeks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like this kind of feels like the plot beats of Seth getting his revenge, but obviously he's not going to do that because of the supposed direction we might be going. I don't know. I feel like they're hamstrung because they've got 2 storylines going on at once.
I mean, he can get his revenge without winning the title, though.
I suppose.
There can be like a no holds barred match or whatever where he beats the absolute living granny out of Roman, and then gets scummed over at the end, and then gets scummed over at the end or something. So there's plenty they can do between the 2 of them, and given the quality of the match last night, I don't see why they wouldn't have a rematch over the next few weeks.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm playing into the storylines at this point. I just want to see for some reason, I want to see Seth win a title. After that, I genuinely was popping. I wanted Seth to. They turned me. I was like, actually, I want to see Seth win this belt. It did the job.
Don't worry, that will happen at some point.
Yeah, just perhaps not in the not too distant future. It doesn't look good for him. Yeah, it doesn't look good for him. But next we have the women's Royal Rumble match. Number 1 was Sasha Banks sorry for listeners, or watchers, I didn't know what the cosplay she was doing was in particular.
It was like a kind of Sailor Moon thing.
Yeah, I think that's what they were going for. And then number 2 was Melina, but I didn't know if she was announced or not yet because the announcement things get on my nerves because
I don't think she had been announced.
So Melina, well, it doesn't matter because she threw her out in 30 seconds. Bye, Melina. Back you go.
Of course, it matters. It's Melina.
Yeah,
I've met Melina. She's lovely.
I've seen the picture on the socials. I think this is my big issue with this match, John. I'm going to be honest. I did enjoy the match overall. I thought overall it did pick up, especially the last 5 to 10 minutes. That was the theme of the 2 Rumbles of the night, actually. But I think because the women's Rumbles, because they've killed their roster, and now the women's division is like laser thin, they have to make all these returns, but they don't ever use them. So they come in for 30 seconds and then get binned out again. And there's
I'm sorry, I disagree. I've got no issue with the returns. I think they played into some quite nice things last night. They played into the old rivalry between Michelle McCool and Mickie James. So Mickie came out. It was great to hear Mickie come out to her TNA music. Actually, it was brilliant. They had they had the permission to do that. Yep. So yeah, it was great to see Mickie come out and throw Michelle out. You had the thing with the Bella twins, where actually an elimination between the Bellas again, like we did a few years ago. So I think that they used the returning legends quite well here. The thing with Mighty Molly and Nikki ASH.
Yeah,
they could interplay quite well with existing rest superstars and actually tell some good stories, and that's something they've done in the past. Like was it last year that they had Jillian and Billy kind of helping each other out during the Rumble and stuff. I think that you get better interaction between the legends coming back and the current superstars in the women's Rumble than you do in the men's.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean there. I think it's just, I don't know. I feel like at the minute, like I said, the women's roster is a thin that with the Rumble, there's only like a few people that could like legitimately. I'm not even talking about if you pick your favorites on storyline paper. I'm talking about in general. There's just like 5 or 6 people that could legitimately win it. You know, and
Probably more than there is in the men's.
yeah, I suppose. I don't know.
I mean, not even that. I mean, there is. I mean, you look at it last night. Okay, you could make a case for Sasha Banks winning it. You can make a case for Rhea Ripley winning it. You can make a case for Bianca Belair winning it. You can make a case for Charlotte Flair winning it. You could make a case for obviously the eventual winner, which we'll get onto. You could make a case for Shayna Baszler winning it. You could also make cases for someone like Liv or returning Alexa. That's 8 people immediately that you can sit there and go, yeah, they could potentially have won that match.
Yeah, some cool moments was Sonya Deville and Naomi having their little scrap. You had some really cool returns in there, like I believe now I'm dying saying the beautiful Alicia Fox is back and she looked better than ever. It's good to see that she's healthy again after she left under not great circumstances. You had other people. Kelly was there.
Yeah.
Yay. All the girls.
I mean, for me, it was all about Mickey. For me, it was all about Mickey coming back. It's great to see Mickey coming back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having the belt with her, looking in great shape.
Yeah,
getting a few eliminations in.
Yeah. It's a bizarre world now that WWE and Impact can work together. But it's good that it's good. It's good. I'm not denying it's a good thing.
I mean, it's good. We should get more of it. There's too much, as there is everywhere in the world. There's too much tribalism in wrestling. And there's too many people in the wrestling fans going, oh yeah, if you watch this product, you can't like this product as well. And it's all fucking wrestling. If you like AEW, of course you're going to like WWE. Of course you're going to like TNA. Of course you're going to like New Japan. You might like them to differing degrees, but it's all bloody wrestling.
Yeah, exactly on that. And yeah, I think overall some really cool moments here. Obviously, I believe it was number 26. We had the return of Ronda Rousey, as you can see in John's background there.
And the minute she came out, it was very clear what way this was going.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, we even had some other people. We had Liv Morgan have a good show. And Sasha, actually, I thought they were going to do the Iron Woman thing. They didn't end up doing that. She got not eliminated early. She was there till about maybe 8 or 9 or... She had a good innings.
Late in the card. She got eliminated earlier than I expected her to be.
Yeah. Liv Morgan did all right. Sarah Logan came back and then promptly left. We had like 2 because the Bella twins ruin everything. I'm joking. The Bellas are great, but I don't know. It was nice to see Sarah Logan back.
I mean, they do to a degree because they used to do the twin magic thing where literally they'd swap places. And you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And then one of them got a boost done. And there's a really clear difference between the Bella twins. So they can't actually do the old tag team thing of swapping partners without anybody noticing anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. But overall for me, mate, obviously the last 2 we get down to is Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair. Nobody, and I mean not one person in that entire building wanted Charlotte Flair to win this. I think we were all sat there at home going, please stop, Charlotte, please. I
mean, it wasn't the last 2 I'd have wanted to see, I'll be honest. But yeah, nobody of those 2, Charlotte, I didn't want to see her win it. So it was great to see Ronda win it. I mean, I think I texted you during the match when they were down to 6, and I said this is actually a really good, high quality last 6 because in the last 6 we also had Shayna and Lita in there.
I think Rhea was still there.
Yeah, Bianca was still in there. Rhea was still in there. So you still at that from that point you'd kind of not cannon fodder, but you got rid of those that you could never see winning it in a million years, and you actually had 6 quality participants in there, and that was really very good from that point in. But yeah, it was. I mean, at the minute the music hit, it was very clear what way they were going with this.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I also have to say as well, shout out to Ivory coming back with the right to censor. That was fab.
At the risk, I mean, Kind of called it.
Yep.
You know, I was talking about Stevie Richards and The Good Father coming back, and kind of called it.
Yep. There you go. Right, John called right to censor. Obviously, it was nice to hear it as well, because I think when the alarm went off, you were like, shit. But no. But Ronda winning, I think it's obvious who she's going to pick. I hope we're going to get a one-on-one between Ronda Rousey and big-time Becky Lynch, or big-time Bex.
That seems like the slightly more obvious option, because obviously Ronda only has one L on her record in WWE, and that is when Bex beat her in the triple threat. They might swerve it and go for Charlotte, because obviously Charlotte was also
it's possible, yeah, for sure.
In that triple threat, so they might find a way of her blaming Charlotte. But yeah, I think it's very likely to be big time Bex, I think. And I don't think there's anybody that wouldn't want to see that. I think my main issue with this is if she's been out for nearly 3 years, she comes back for 10 minutes and wins a Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
They could have set up, you know, the thing with 2 belts is they could have set up Becky versus Ronda for Mania without having her win this. And maybe somebody a little more deserving that's served the company a little more over the last couple of years when things have been really hard could have won this match. They didn't have to do this to set that match up. They could have had Sasha win it, although having her win it from really early doors with Bianca winning it from like number 3 last year might have seemed a bit repetitive. But yeah, they could have been another way to do this. They could have even had Ronda come down and interfere in the title match to set it up. You know, it just seems, and it may well be a theme that we come on to with the Rumble, the men's Rumble. It just seems a little bit of a slap in the face to those that have been turning up day in, day out for the last 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like it's a shit, like you said, it's just, I don't know. It just, I get why we've gone here, and I get Mania's the big time, and that's where you get those people back but
I have no issue with setting it up for Mania. I would have had no issue for her coming back to the event. But the simple fact is, there were ways of bringing her back even in this event and setting that match up without her winning the Rumble.
Yeah,
you know, if you're Sasha Banks, if you're Shayna Baszler, if you're Bianca Belair or Rhea Ripley or even Charlotte Flair, you're going to be sitting there going, she's just turned up and done this.
Yeah,
it's not great. It's not great talent management.
No, especially in a company where reports are low on morale and things like that. It just seems like an interesting decision. Like you said, I'm sure the feud would be great, and I think we all want to see that match. But I'm with you on this one. I don't think it was the way of setting it up. Next up, though, we go to the Raw Women's title match between Becky Lynch and Doudrop. The crowd were dead for this one. I think that's because they just witnessed a Rumble. For me personally, I feel really bad for Becky and Doudrop. This is where I would have put that Edge match personally. I think this would have been the best fit for the Edge match. Let the crowd kind of warm back into it. Edge can liven them up a little bit again, because this did suffer for a crowd not giving a shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna christen this the Caesars in Streatham derby, because it's effectively a match between every woman who tried to drunkenly chat me up at 2 a.m. on a Friday night in Caesars in Streatham in the late 90s, and every woman I tried to drunkenly chat up at Caesars in Streatham at 2 a.m. on a Friday night in the late 90s.
Yeah, just like, also I have a problem with this kind of match when so we did the heel versus heel thing with Roman and Seth, but that works because you got the care for those characters on a long-term build. This they did the heel versus heel thing again, but nobody cares about that. There's not that impetus to give a shit about Doudrop. Not Doudrop's fault, but it's bloody Dewdrop. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the character isn't well established enough.
no.
I've got to say, actually, for what it was a decent match.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, they as a wrestling match, it was really good. It worked really well together, and it deserved to get a better reaction than it did.
Yeah, absolutely. It just they worked well together. I don't know what it was. It just, but when the crowd's dead, and when you're in a real like that, I think when it didn't mind in the Thunderdome because you couldn't see it, but when you can see a dead crowd and you in an arena, you can hear a pin drop. It really affects a match. And this, I think, was the biggest one of the night where the crowd would just didn't care. I think it's because as well it was an obvious winner. It's not.
There was no jeopardy in this at all.
No, exactly. Overall, I do wish that maybe down the line, can we just change Dewdrop's name back to Piper Niven, please? Please, Vince, just change it back. It's better than Dewdrop.
I'm easy either way.
I don't know what it is about the name. It's really strange to me. It doesn't really strike fear in your opponents, does it? Dewdrop. I don't know. But yeah, Becky Lynch retains with the second rope manhandle slam, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what she calls it now? I think so.
Yeah.
So she wins with that. A really good match. They said some really cool moments, but yeah, nothing. It was at this point though where John struck the fear of God into me by saying, "I've seen a rumor of somebody who could be in the Rumble," and I went, "Oh God." I won't say his name for the sake of he doesn't deserve me to even speak his name, but it was a horrifying prospect. And no, it wasn't Goldberg, who thankfully doesn't show up on this card.
Yeah, just think of like the worst human being in wrestling, and yeah, you got it.
But next up, then we do have the WWE Championship match between the almighty Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. Another really good match. Crowd hot for this one as well. Really cool stuff. Very similar to the day one style. Eventually, it was a bit slow to start with, and that's weird me saying that a Brock Lesnar match is slow, but that's what happened. I enjoyed it slow.
They built this up very strangely, I've got to say, because even the promo package was like, Bobby Lashley's been asking for Brock Lesnar for 20 years. Like, has he?
Yeah.
I don't recall that. I don't recall at any point until about the last 4 weeks Bobby Lashley actually calling Brock Lesnar out.
Yeah. I mean, in real life he did, but that's not how it works, WWE. You can't just. But yeah, also I have to say this point, it was at this point of the show as well where the WrestleMania sign in the crowd was on fire. So that was fun. So most of the crowd weren't even watching this match. They were more worried about their health because the sign had been set alight. But yeah, really cool moments. Spear through the barricade, some really cool suplexes, that sort of stuff. Again, this match didn't set the mod like it wasn't like day one where you were holy shit. It was a similar Brock Lesnar match until for some reason Brock is an idiot and takes out the referee really easily. F5. I mean, that's how ref bumps happen. It's how ref bumps happen. I know, but it's just.
But I mean, Brock Lesnar has knocked referees out with F5s for the last 20 years.
Yeah,
you would think like that at some point. Okay, maybe he's not the brightest, but you would think that at some point he'd work out that every time he knocks a referee out with an F5, he loses the bloody match.
Yeah.
And maybe check your space while you're doing it and make sure you're not going to knock the referee out.
Exactly. I'm with you on that one, mate. But yeah, overall, then I think as soon as the referee was down, we knew where this was going. Roman Reigns comes out, oorah, Superman punch spear. And then he looks at Paul Heyman and Heyman gives him the title. And he just hits Roman with it in the head. And then I like this little thing for Roman. He just throws it on the ground. He doesn't care about the WWE title. As my phone goes off. Bugger off.
Yeah, he just wants to scum over. He just wants to scum over Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously we get another referee conveniently comes down at that moment. 1, 2, 3. Bobby Lashley is your new WWE champion. and he will face Gage Goldberg at WrestleMania. No. Overall, though, mate, really good match. I feel this is
Yeah, I mean,
it's not. You
was.
called it again. You called it again. I bow down to you because you got this right in the
it
predictions.
was longer. It was longer than we thought it was going to be.
Yes,
I thought a
I
message
bet.
you at the start of this and said, "How long do you reckon?" You were like less than under 5, and I was like 6 minutes 30. Actually, it was got it here 10 minutes 15 and 70.75 seconds.
I
So
made a mistake because when I was watching this with my friend Robbie, I said I will take a shot for every minute that this match lasts. Thinking it'll last 2 or 3, and it lasted 10.
10 minutes 15.75. But yeah, it was a decent match. I think on the podcast last week, we were talking about what are they going to do? How are they going to get back on track for Mania? Obviously, this is them getting back on track for Mania. This is the position that we would have been in after day one had Roman not got COVID. So we're now on track again. Heyman's back with the tribal chief. Lesnar's without a title. And yeah, we'll wait and see what happens.
Yes.
But yeah, this was effectively them moving the pieces into place for where they should have been at the start of this pay-per-view.
Yep, absolutely.
Very good, very entertaining.
I do feel.
It's two guys that are very watchable.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I do.
Obviously, having MVP and Heyman around the outside of the ring also makes it even more watchable.
Absolutely. I do wonder where Bobby's going to go from here, though. I think that's the only question mark. Most of the time's sort of set in place for Mania. Bobby could really face anybody. So that's exciting in a sense because we don't really know where that one's going just yet. Hopefully it's Biggie. Hopefully it's Biggie because he deserves a rematch. Give it to Biggie. Give him that rematch. I don't care. He deserves it. Boom, boom, bada, boom.
Yeah, I mean, we're in Saudi before then. Elimination Chamber match in Saudi. I mean, they could put him in it and have him win it and set it up for Mania. I mean, they could give Goldberg a title match against Lashley at the Chamber. Who knows? But I do think that Big Bill is going to be involved somewhere over the next couple of months.
Agrees. Yeah, absolutely. But that's where we sort of go. We fade to black, and now we're ready for the match, which I hated what they called it in the promos: the It couple versus the Grit couple. Okay. WWE, sure. The Miz and Maurice versus Edge and Beth Phoenix, standard mixed tag match.
I mean, 10 out of 10 first for Maurice's outfit.
Yeah, looked fire, and also 10 out of 10 for Beth Phoenix's hair because I can't imagine how long that took.
I mean, and actually, I just want Miz's costume that he came down to the ring in for this. Actually, this is great. Yeah, I mean, a standard mixed tag match between a face couple and a heel couple. The heel couple were trying to play all the dirty tricks, but also being a bit cowardly at points. And yeah, obviously Beth did get a whack in on Miz, and yeah, it was enjoyable enough, but it was kind of filler at the same time.
Yeah, it was enjoyable enough, but I think, like you said, it didn't really set the world light. It was everything that we said it was going to be. The predictions, I don't think there was any. There's nothing wrong with it. It did what it needed to on a card where it wasn't the biggest match, and it did its job. Overall, I'm not going to ever go back and rewatch it. But again, though, did they ever design it to do that? Probably not. So it did the job. Not much more to say on that one. I don't know if this is the end of the feud, though. I don't really know if we continue from here. It was a pretty clean victory. Does Edge move on for Mania and go somewhere else? There is a chance of that.
Yeah, I think there's a chance of
that. But now it's time for the main event of the evening. It is your 30-man Royal Rumble match. Number 1 was AJ Styles, and number 2 was Shinsuke Nakamura. Really cool first two.
I'd have liked to see these two go for a bit longer than they actually did, to be honest. I'd have liked a bit of cannon fodder to come out on number 3 and just get knocked out, and us have about 5 minutes of these two.
Yeah, I agreed.
But no, it was a really cool first two. AJ had a great rumble, actually, probably said.
AJ had a good rumble. Other people that came out during this, I mean, this year again, they revealed everyone that was in it. So you can sort of, I think the issue is that when you think there could be a surprise on the horizon, but you get to the final few, you're like, okay, well, we know this person's going to be in it, we know that person's going to be in it.
I mean, there were only 2 or 3 surprises on the night.
Yeah, it was.
They all kind of came out. They all kind of came out in the second half of the match.
Yeah. Things that happened. Johnny Knoxville got his moment. He didn't do anything bad, but he couldn't sell for shit. His moves, like his actual moves, were all right, but when he was getting hit by Styles, he just stood there like. And then he got eliminated by Sami Zayn, I think.
Yeah.
Or was it? But so Sami got his revenge. But go see.
I mean, what was the point?
No, don't know. He was in there for 2 minutes.
There's another entrant later on that I might be saying that about as well.
Hopefully, it's not the same one that I disagree with. But yeah, other things that happened. Not a lot in the first half. This Rumble for me was a Rumble of 2 halves. The first half, I was bored. Then it picked up in the last 10.
I mean, what I would say about the first half is obviously, I mean, the main star of the first half was Omos. He came out. They made a very big deal of Omos. You know, it took 5 or 6 guys to get him out of the ring.
Yeah.
Clearly, they're going to be pushing him as a very big thing. You know, he eliminated the Street Profits single-handed, didn't he? And just that like at a couple of points there was just debris and people lying all over the floor of the ring, and Omos standing above everybody, looking very very powerful. So yeah, they set that up quite nicely with him kind of coming out and clearing house. Obviously, they had a little moment between him and AJ, and it was effectively AJ's help in the end that assisted him in going out, because while there were like 5 guys pushing him at the ropes, AJ hit a formidable forearm and knocked him over. So, you know, we're probably setting up for AJ versus Omos at Mania, which I wouldn't mind seeing.
I wouldn't mind seeing.
But yeah, that was basically the point of the first half of it, I think, just to big up Omos.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it worked fine. I think the issue with this Rumble, I think they just did it wrong. I'm much more of a fan of when they sprinkle out your potential winners. Do you know what I mean? When there's like something come out in the first half, it's like the second half. Whereas this, it just felt, apart from Styles and maybe Nakamura, all of your potential winners came out in the last 10. In the last 10, you had, I think, back to back Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Big E, Kofi, Randy, Riddle. Yes, Drew McIntyre was the surprises, by the way, and he did get a pop, thankfully. Sheamus was just before 20, I think. All these guys like potentially could win, just did not appear in the first half, which made the first half of the Rumble really boring to watch, because you're sat there going, well, that person ain't going to win.
Yeah, it was a little bit like, and like, no matter how much they try to big up Austin Theory, I don't get it.
I mean, I like the guy, but he's definitely not there yet.
Yeah, I don't get it. Don't get the hype.
But yeah, it didn't work for me. Anyway, we get to number 27. And who is number 27? It is Bad Bunny. The return of Bad Bunny, my goat from last year's Mania. I thought he was sick. Comes to the Rumble this year.
Great to see him come back. Got a couple of eliminations in. Great.
Oh, see, this was the person I thought you weren't going to be fond of.
Oh, no, I didn't have a problem with that. Why would I have a problem with that?
I don't know. I just assumed.
You assume you make an ass out of you and me?
I did. I have. Bad Bunny was great. He's like, it's like he hasn't missed a beat. It's like he's been training all year. He's still got it. He was sick. He hit a fucking Canadian destroyer.
Yeah. Why would you think I have a problem with Bad Bunny coming out and not the next guy?
Who was the guy after Bad Bunny?
Well, at 27, you had Bad Bunny. He came out, he hit some moves, he was great. At 28, here comes the money.
Ah, Shane O'Mac. I love Shane O'Mac.
Was the
because it's Shane O'Mac.
Shane O'Mac was in the final 3 of the Royal Rumble. Was there anybody sitting there going, "Oh wow, Shane McMahon's going to win the Royal Rumble"?
Would you have minded as much if it was more in the earlier half?
I'd have loved it if he'd come out in the first half. Yeah, great.
I don't know. Again,
yeah, the only reason he was out there was to eliminate Owens.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think before we get too far, we've got to say I think there was one quite significant botch in the second half.
Yeah, it was
pretty fucking painful.
Yeah.
I hope Kofi's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was quite clear that he was meant to kind of land on that railing and then support himself up and get back in the ring. What it looks like happened is that he's done something to his ribs or his shoulder, and the referee's kind of checking, like, actually, no, he can't get back up. So they've had to actually replay the footage and made like, well, no, both his feet touched.
Yeah. It's a shame. I think the issue with the Kofi stuff is now it's all done. So this time they went for something that is literally incredibly difficult. Like Kofi, like most of the time when he does the stuff, it's interesting, but it's doable.
It's been done, but at the same time, you're saying that as a member of a television audience. For the people in the crowd, it's great to see that live, and that's really going to get them going, get a lot of excitement, get a lot of pop going for the match.
Yeah.
That's why they continue to do it.
Oh no, I don't mind it being done. I'm just saying that it was a very difficult spot to do. Like, especially because normally when Kofi gets pushed, it's from he's on the top rope and suddenly pushes him off. I think this time he was being slammed out of the ring, and he got like Luther's pressed over the instead of him being able to because normally he jumped himself.
It looked bad.
Yeah,
I hope the guy's okay because it looked bad.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was so.
I mean, his ribs and shoulders just impacted on that fucking.
It was just the way it was a bump, and you're there like,
next thing you know, he's curled up on the mat. It's like, oh god.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just difficult to watch. And you sit there and you sort of feel bad for him because it's like, oh fuck. Not only the pain, but also I guarantee you really wanted to do that spot, all that sort of stuff.
No, I mean, well, now more important than all that, you just hope the guy's all right.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing that people forget. Like in yes, they may be performers. He still gets significant injuries.
Yeah.
You just hope the guy's all right.
Absolutely, man. I'm entirely with you on that one. But let's go number 30.
Actually, got to say before you go to 30, massive pop for Randy when he came out at 29.
Obviously,
probably got the best crowd reaction of the lot. Actually, even bigger than Drew.
Yeah,
Randy got a great crowd reaction.
Obviously, this being in St. Louis,
the
hometown crowd love him. Got to hit a few RKOs. It was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, good to see Randy. I'm happy he didn't win it because Randy always seems to win Rumbles when it makes no sense. But yeah, number 30 was.
I'd rather him than
this man. No. Bomb. Because again, like Ronda Rousey, I think once this man came out, everyone knew.
I mean, once this guy lost his title match, it was pretty clear what was going to happen.
Yeah. Same for me. I think you're going to agree with me on this one, John. Same for me as the Ronda build-up. It doesn't need a Rumble win. The feud's already genetically there. And instead of building a new feud or a new star with the Rumble, they've just gone, how can we get Brock a title match? We can win the Rumble.
And very similarly to the Women's Rumble, it was like, has he actually earned that?
Yeah.
I timed it actually. I watched it back today and timed it. Have a little guess. How long between Brock's music hitting and him winning the match?
3 minutes 30.
3 minutes, 9.47 seconds. Less than 200 seconds. In total, he wrestled for less than 15 minutes last night.
Yep.
He was in 2 matches and
Yep.
he's got a WrestleMania slot.
Yeah. It's so unbelievably frustrating.
I mean, I've slightly less of an issue with it than maybe I have with the Women's Rumble, because at least Brock's
He's been here.
kind of been there, and he's been
Yeah.
kind of, over the last few months anyway, been doing a job. And maybe there weren't so many more deserving guys, although I would say that Drew was certainly more deserving of winning it than Roman was, given that he carried the fucking company through COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it just fits in with the Brock character, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And
it's
very obvious what way they're going to go now.
yeah.
If Brock ends up challenging anybody but Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, I'm saying it here and now, and I will do it. I will be held to it. I will record the WrestleMania Timeless podcast naked. And none of us want that.
Please don't pick Bobby Lashley. Please don't.
None of us want that. I don't want it. Alex,
I don't want it. No.
YouTube viewers certainly don't want it. Even the podcast listeners probably don't want it, because they would have to sit there for an hour with that mental image.
And there we go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good job this isn't on the podcast, because they'll be sicking in their mouths a little bit just at the thought of it.
Exactly. It's just such bizarre. It's such a bizarre way to leave the Rumble, because everyone's so hyped for the Rumble, and you leave it and you go, like you said at the start, you shouldn't be leaving the Royal Rumble by saying it happened.
Yeah, I was like, it's 5 a.m. That's happened. I'm going to go to fucking bed.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I think if the 2 Rumble matches had been the other way around, might have left with a bit of a fresher taste in my mouth, although obviously they would then have had to switch the card up a bit and have Brock versus
Bobby
Lashley on first, and maybe the Men's Rumble a little bit later than second on the card. So it would have been a bit trickier to manage. But yeah, I think if the Women's Rumble had come up in the main event, which on the quality of the match it probably deserved to be, I think I'd have come out of it a bit happier. But as we are, it happened. Everybody knew where we were heading with WrestleMania. We're now heading there.
There we go. That's all I got to say. I think I can't put any better than that. I do want to, before we round up, I do let you know what the plan is for wrestling on the channel. So I doubt me and John will talk about Elimination Chamber, because I don't like talking about Saudi shows. I don't like giving that coverage. I find it weird. I find it uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm like Sami Zayn. I don't travel for Saudi shows.
But
I'll sit and watch.
I did say to John, there is a potential we could be doing like our own WrestleMania sort of match card, dream card thing going on. Some pictures for Mania. So we could do a pre-WrestleMania predictions podcast before we do the actual predictions and the review. But the next time you'll see some wrestling on this podcast will be Mania related. By the way, I'd say a big thank you to my friend Chris for doing all the artwork. You can see around us now. It's very pretty, isn't it? It looks lovely. It's no longer just a random void. But you can also, though, follow this lovely
artwork around me.
I know, it's weird. It's almost like it's only there for them and not for us.
There better not be a massive sign above my head that says cock or something like that.
I can tell you there is no sign that says cock above your head.
Excellent.
But you can follow Mr. John Cook. Sorry, Cock. No, Cook. At JohnBoy_Cook on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter, AlexKing_Tom. You can follow the podcast at Times Podcast. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. All the links to the podcast with the link tree in the description. That's on Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher. So if you even listen to those, you want to give the YouTube channel a sub, it's heavily recommended, and I do really appreciate it. And tomorrow is it's the second anniversary podcast, which we have filmed. It was filmed last week, so we know what that's like. It's an interesting one. There's a lot of fun. I get roasted, and I don't think I'm still recovering to this day. And then we shall.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're very lucky because Alex has actually edited this one.
Yes. And then I had to, yeah. But and then the next week as well on the show, and the week after that, John will be back with Owen talking about Kinder, the Doctor Who story.
Cannot wait.
So that should be a fun one. But until then,
Yeah,
guys,
cannot wait.
Stay safe, take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Don't have nightmares. Do sleep well. Here come the money.